Okay, my lovely students. This is just a brief overview of the grammar we've been learning and talking about in order to make your writing creative and engaging and interesting, so people actually enjoy reading it. Because the more varied sentence structures you can use, the more enjoyable it is to read. So first, we learned about appositive phrases. And an appositive phrase is a noun or noun phrase that renames another noun right beside it, and it's separated from the rest of the sentence by commas. So for example, the insect, comma, a cockroach. So a cockroach is your appositive phrase, is crawling across the table. An appositive phrase can get as long and big as you want it, like this one. The insect, comma, a large hairy-legged cockroach that has spied my bowl of oatmeal is crawling across the table. An important thing about the appositive phrase is it's a suitcase clause. So you could just take this out, doop, doop, and now it's a sentence. It still makes sense. The insect is crawling across the kitchen table. Or you can put it back in. Adjectives shifted out of order. This is when the adjectives come after the noun they are describing instead of before, and they are set off from the rest of the sentence by commas. So for example, the glorious cold and sunny morning was the best beginning to my fall break. Very true. I've loved the mornings in the fall. But I could take these adjectives and put them after the noun. The morning, glorious, cold, and sunny, was the best beginning to my fall break. And again, just like the appositive phrase, this is also a suitcase clause, and you can take it out. The sentence still makes sense. The morning was the best beginning to my fall break. Participle phrases. So a participle is when a verb, that's an action word, functions as an adjective or describes a noun. Will end in either ing or ed. So the past participle is the past tense of the word. You don't really need to know this. Just know that crippled man, crippled is functioning as an adjective. Running man, running is functioning as an adjective. So this is just past, this is present. A participle phrase is a phrase that begins with a participle and describes the subject and is separated from the independent clause or the sentence by commas. For example, running downhill, the man tripped over the garbage can. So running down, that's your participle, and then running downhill is your phrase. The man tripped over the garbage can, comma, running downhill. And the participle phrase, again, like the appositive, can be taken out of the sentence, and it still makes sense. Whoops. Okay, let's do these. Sally read the book, bent over an anthill. So bent over an anthill, bent is your participle phrase, participle. 2, I went shopping sitting on my brother's shoulders, so sitting would be your participle. 3, Sally came down from her room, running as fast as she could. Running is the participle. Jumping higher, I finally touched the ceiling, so jumping is the participle. I dreamt that I got jumped by some guys, twisting, turning, and sweating. So all 3 of those are participles. Then, covered in sweat, I woke up. Or unfortunately, pushing the cart, he tripped. So a participle is often easiest to write it if it's at the beginning or the end of the sentence, but it can come in the middle. For example, let's see if I can write one. This morning, I went running. So that's my sentence. But this morning, I was feeling really sore because I worked out yesterday. Feeling very sore, I went running. Oh, and I'll make it a compound sentence now. And I had to stop after 3 miles because my hip hurt. Well, there's a dependent clause. Because my hip hurt, throbbing with pain. Oh, yeah, so there's a participle. My hip was throbbing with pain. So hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. You can ignore the last 20 seconds if this did. But look, there's a dependent clause. There's a participle. Oh, and it's a compound sentence. Very exciting. Makes your writing very much fun to read. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Now you can enjoy watching The Twilight Zone and completing the worksheet. Hopefully you picked up a worksheet from the TA desk, and also hopefully you grabbed a pink paper if you weren't here last week or if you're in first period. Make sure you get a pink paper for the reading. Okay, enjoy. I'll see you on Friday.